Hey, my name is Jasper. I'm here today to tell you about how can you sell more in Q3 with 10x better emails, right? So, long story short, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Just pause the video after in the replay, you'll find me there, right? So, I'm the founder of Salestools, Exact Visitor, and Tech Tracker, and I'm going to share some of the secrets today why you should pay attention. Emails are still the cheapest way to acquire your next customer. If you care about your money, especially during this time, email is your best option. People, they're getting tired of AdWords. They're not clicking on them. They're searching. They're getting more and more expensive every single month. And there is only one winner, it's Google. You can still acquire, if you do it right and you're targeting and you're using hyper-targeting, you can acquire more customers through email. So why should you really care? Well, the number one metric you're really going to care about in the future is your sales velocity. And why would you care? Well, if you look right here, revenue per day, over there, that is the metric I would care about. And I do care about my business. It tells me how much new revenue can I expect a day. Some businesses might have a delta here on $200. Some have $20,000. Some have pipeline coming in at $10,000 but closing $2,000 a day. If you're Salesforce, you're closing maybe $500,000 a day. You name it, or even more, right? The problem is, if you don't know how much revenue you're expecting per day, then you don't have control of your business. And how do you get control of your big business? Building a predictable way to growth. And that is by selling directly on email, but also making it social, right? So how can you change your sales velocity to make more money every single day? Well, you have 4 parameters to play with. First of all, the number of opportunities in pipeline. Then you multiply that with the average opportunity value. Imagine you increase the number of opportunities and the average selling price goes up, well then your sales velocity obviously increase. But the best way is actually to increase the win rate, right? That will increase the number of dollars and shorten the sales cycle. These are the 4 numbers you can play with. They're predictable and you can control them if you have enough data. So start looking into your sales velocity and try to understand how that's going to benefit you. Because then you know what's going to happen tomorrow. If your sales velocity is $500, you know tomorrow you're going to close $500. So are you going to do an average the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day, and you know what you're growing with. Okay, so let's get into emails. So when you look at emails, and this is an example of Upwork, good copywriting costs dollars. It's not cheap, but good copywriting matters. It's what makes and break the difference here, right? If you have bad copywriting, nobody's going to understand what you're selling, and it might not even sound inspiring, right? If you have the best product in the world and you can't communicate it through words, your copywriting sucks. So you really need to focus on the copywriting. This is one of the biggest mistakes I did early on building the companies. I sucked at copywriting, so I taught myself how to become better. I did that actually by hiring some of those guys there, right? I practiced and learned from greater copywriters. So this is an example like drag over here, $397, add on $497 an hour, just mean $125 per hour. Yes, they do write a lot better than I do, most of them. But the thing is, they will spend many hours perfecting what you need to do. So you should invest in yourself and improve your copywriting. Hopefully after today, you have some understanding of what you need to work with. So my good friend David Gerhardt from Drift, he moved over to be CMO at Preview. He actually published something the other day, and I wanted to share it with you because I found that very appealing. So typically, and we do a little bit of the left side, but we also do a little bit of the right side. And I think that the truth being told is both template can work. It depends on who receives it. So that's why it's so important to test and personalize, right? So if you take the first one here, most people actually send the CEO like, hey CEO, as a busy CEO managing the company, limited hours per day, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I mean, you get a long, okay email. What he's trying to say here is the better email, short and precise. And if you can't read it on this bad boy, what is it worth, right? So it's so important you can read it on your smartphone that you don't have to scroll down, then people get it. And you do that by making short emails. So basically what he said, for this example, when you sell executive training, which the email is all about, it is going like this. Hey CEO, is there a reason you aren't doing any coaching for your executive team right now, Dave? So if you think about that for a second, it makes me think like, hey, my management team, Why I'm not training them? Is there a reason? If there is a reason I'm not, or if I was interested, I'm most likely hit reply. If I'm not a fit, this is what we call discovery disc, right? There's a whole methodology around how do you disqualify a prospect. And he does that extremely, extremely well. He disqualifying the ones that might not reply there because they probably are not a fit. So it's actually a very powerful way of thinking. How can you be so concise without selling anything, just asking the question? This will work a lot better on LinkedIn, for example, okay? So my guys over at Bricks, all of them, they've done a great job. Fastest unicorn ever. 0 month to unicorn status, 7 month, right? 7 month out of Y Combinator. They joined Y Combinator wanting to build a virtual reality startup. And the partners, they said, hey, you guys had experience building a fintech company in Brazil. You should use your expertise. And then they realized that, hey, and I went through that when I was in the States as a foreign founder. You can get a credit card. So they wanted to make a credit card for startups. That's how they came around. They did something crazy. They, for $200,000 or $300,000, they rented all the billboards in San Francisco for 3 months. And you got to see them every freaking where. So now when you send a cold email, that worked because now people knew who Bricks was. So Larissa, this is an example how she made Salestools a customer with Bricks. This is the real story. Larissa was the number 1 employee, first employee, and she's basically in the management team today. She actually, well, technically she didn't write it because this is the template, right? I call it the CEO or founder template. It is when a senior employee, typically the founder, forward an email. Hypothetically speaking, this is automated, so she never sent this email. But some might say, why does Larissa not write me directly? Well, her role is sales. She has people to do that. That's why this template works when you have salespeople. So basically what happens here is, Brett, he sends me an email saying, hey Jesper, one of Brett's founding team members asked that I reach out to you. See below, right? We have the proof down there. Larissa sent an email to him, forwarded it. My email went out, you see the timestamps, everything match. So this makes sense, right? So I read it and I say, we hope you and your team are staying healthy and doing well, relatively speaking. With all this going on in the world, we wanted to bring you some good news about perks Bricks can offer you a partnership with Y Combinator. For context, Bricks is the first credit card built for growing companies like Salestools. We offer a card with no founder liability, higher credit limits, Here's what the Y Combinator offer that Larissa mentioned below, right? So this is cards worth for life, some AWS credits. You get $10,000 in cash balance rather than 50 and so on. Approval requirement. As a YC company, you can then sign up here. What Larissa wrote to Brett is, hey Brett, have a look at Salestools. They're from Y Combinator's last cohort. We should make sure that they're doing okay this time. You know what? What happens is you feel honored to get this email. So you're likely to answer because, what? I've seen Bricks everywhere. They send me an email, right? So this storyline combines extremely, extremely well and compelling. Had it been a one-man show, I would probably say, okay, or a few people, why did Larissa not write me directly? But again, she has a sales team, they have a process. It's not her job to write me, but she helped with the growth and reach out and let the sales team do their job. Works wonders. And I can tell you how great it works. Lori, she runs Exact Visitor, right? She used the same approach. She has Chloe here, one of the SDRs. And then it goes like this. This is actually one we use inside Salestools. Hey, first thing. My CEO Lori asked that I reach out to you. See below. Did you know you can identify any visitor on your website before the chat asked to be contacted by name, email, company information, and get an alert in Slack? We help other companies your size increase the number of quality opportunities by identifying the visitors before they engage with you. Do you have a few minutes to catch up on Friday? Okay, this template tells the value proposition. Say that a senior employee, or this actually the CEO in this case, a founder, ask the sales rep to reach out. You feel honored again, right? And you see the subject is forward, let's connect with company. And you see the email that Lori wrote. It's connected to the whole story that Chloe is sending. Again, Lori never wrote an email. This is 100% automated. The date, the time, everything is done automatically. Within Salestools, we do nothing. 100% automated, right? It works. Actually, in fact, the first Exact Visitor, 100 customers paying plus $500 a month for the precise person tracking, that came from this template. So we're going to share all these templates in the end of the webinar. There's going to come an email to you, or it's going to be posted in the group, right? So just stay tuned. So we have another one. This is all about building relationship right now. And this works extremely well for founders that are not well known. Companies are not out there yet, but you need to have people to get to know you. So how do you do that? Well, let's take this scenario. I built, let's say, Exact Visitor. At that point, I didn't have any customers. I was looking for the first customers. How do you get to talk to them? Well, now we're talking about using my network. So I did this automation, semi-automation, where we then take, hey, first name, and we put, let's connect with the company, right? I wanted to connect with you as I've already spoken to some of your mutual contacts. Then we put in 4 names that they have, 3 names that they have on LinkedIn. And other few folks with a background similar to yours, like, and then I put the first person named 4, right? And then the company name, it should say company name 4 in that example, but anyway, you get the point. And they all share a similar issue that today 93 to 97% of the website visitor leaves without a trace. Boom, this is where we hook them, right? We have somebody they like that talks about it. We have common connections. We're talking about people we both know. Now we're having some level of trust. They all agreed, right, that they want to convert anonymous website traffic or anonymous traffic into opportunities. I'm interested to connect with you to understand if you're facing a similar problem. I have included a 1-page PDF file outlining how this problem can be solved. I'm also based in San Francisco, and the main purpose of my outreach is to connect, establish some trust, and potentially build long-term relationship. Do you see what I did here? We went away from selling. Right now we're just trying to connect, get a feedback, and know what? Turn into revenue in the end. It's all about trust and getting people there. Is that something you like to explore? Are you available? Done, right? Then there's a follow-up, and there are multiple follow-ups for some of these emails in the Google Sheet that we'll share with you after this webinar. So the follow-up goes to following. Hey, first thing, looks like my prior email slipped through the cracks. Give me your background, you have any experience with. I would love to get your perspective on this, right? In case you missed it prior, I've attached a 1-page PDF or PDF pager I'd like to get your feedback on and see how you applied it in your case. I want to quickly circle back with you to see if you can get a calendar in coming week, So we're asking for something here. We're asking for an action, call to action. We're asking to get a time in the calendar. And again, we're not asking to sell to them yet. We're asking for feedback. So right now, the person, if they have a normal person would respond, would open that PDF and then respond to you. And this is where the power comes in, because then your job getting them on the demo or the call is to keep confirming how great your service is. The more times they say yes, the more you hook them. It's all about the hook, right? Get the hook there. Then in the end, they say, I need Exact Visitor because I need to know the precise person on my website. I'm losing money right now. Even watching this webinar, I'm losing money because I know there are people on my website that I could have known who they were, but paying $500 a month. That's the hook, okay? Then we have another strategy. So we went over hyper-personalized, like building relationship. Now, there's another strategy what we call direct offering. So typically we say there's one build relationship, one called direct offering. And direct offering is when you know your ideal customer profile and the persona. You need to go out and test. Do not spam. Run small tests to figure out where do you get the highest reply rate per industry and job title. Otherwise, you're not gonna have success, okay? So test. So it goes like this. Hey, first thing, I wanted to connect with you as I recently spoken to marketers with a similar background and they all shared similar issues. Okay, right now I'm building some trust, right? Today, 93% live without trace, We went over that in the past one. They all agreed that they want to convert anonymous traffic into opportunities. We get a little bit more similar, but more direct than the old email. Now we talk about, I'm based in San Francisco, and the main purpose of my outreach is to connect, establish some trust. It's a bit similar, but instead of saying, hey, I connected to person XYZ, we go straight to the offering and say, this is what we offer. Some people might not respond to that because it seems impersonal, But for others, it works extremely well. Typical founders like that more, while people that like to be pampered and nurtured, they like to know those people that you are recommending and talking about. So that's the difference between the two. The follow-up is very similar, because right now we changed it a bit just to have different follow-ups, but it's super similar. It's all about getting them to follow up, referring to what you said in the other email. Now, this works extremely well with some personas. That's why you have to know your ICP and persona and test them. And some you might want to double down on direct offering. Some you might want to double down on the mutual connection, right? Coming over, short message. We call it like the LinkedIn style email. And what we tested with this one is, first of all, there's a visual in it. It makes it different, right? We talk directly about our value proposition, and we go with the following. What if you could track any visitor on software.com, whatever your domain name was, Dell.com, and return the name, job title, company name, and get live alerts on potential leads or named accounts live in Slack? Don't wait for chat engagement, but call them and close more deals faster. It says precisely what exact visitor is offering them, right? It shows a Slack image of the live alert that Eric Wan, CEO of Zoom, who does really well right now. He doesn't need more leads during these times, but later on he might do. So Eric, right, he came to the website, exact visitor, sent that notification. Then it says below, exact visitors live alerts can help you increase the sales funnel. And we have seen customers increase their close rate by 400% when they reach a named account within 30 minutes from their visit. Will this be relevant for anyone else in your team or for you, right? All the best. Now we're asking, do you see how powerful the last line is? Will this be relevant for you or anyone else in your team? So basically what we're asking is, if you're not the right person, think about somebody that is and let me know, right? So we're actually having calls for action where you either say it's me or you should reach John over in marketing. It's powerful. It works. So think about that for a second. Get that into your context. But all these templates work to different target groups. This one, I personally don't like it, but it works for a lot of people. I think it's a little bit on the edge. But again, sometimes the templates I don't personally like, they kick ass. So I'm going to share it with you. I call it We Heard of You template. It's the conference one, right? And I got it a few times on LinkedIn with people trying to connect with me. The problem is when you connect to somebody like me, I tend to reply to people and I tend to be really nice and I say, thank you so much. Do you mind share who it was, right? Typically then they say, I forgot the name, and you got to be smart about it. Then it works really well. So here goes. I went to SaaStar in San Jose 2 weeks ago, and someone mentioned your name during a conversation about marketing automation. Now, right now, you feel special because somebody talked about you. I reach out to you because of that conversation. For a second, you want to reply. Subconsciously, you don't think about it, but you would. They suggested that we connect as we could mutually benefit from our shared interest within marketing connection. Again, I'm not saying I'm selling you anything right now. Maybe I'm just want to give you some questions, right? To share knowledge and we both grow. Are you available? So my call to action comes there. This is actually working really well. Some people might find it fishy, and it's hard to do it during this time when conferences are not done yet, but in the future when conferences are back, keep it in your backlog and use it, okay? The last one is a Salestools template that is unique to us. This is something coming out right now within the next 2 weeks with our new email template builder. We call it the LinkedIn profile email. Okay, basically what it does is we have the text, our search and growth expert on LinkedIn, and based on your profile, I love what you're up to at SaaS Mantra, and especially your last post about Salestools is the best sales productivity tool in the world. I mean, now I'm referring to his company name and the post he just wrote. So this person, Sampath, he will be like, hey, Jesper took a picture of me, he screenshot me and he went to my profile, he checked me out to talk about a post. Okay, it works. Now Sampath, he will definitely reply because he feels honored, he feels special. I took the time, I talked about something he talked about, so he's more likely to say he deserved a reply. Sometimes that's all it takes to have the conversation going. So I wrote below the picture, I have a question about how SaaS Mantra convert anonymous website visitors and turn them into revenue by automation. Does SaaS Mantra do that today? And if not, what held you back or held them back? Will this be relevant for you or anyone else in your team? All the best. So this is another example of a template, and this automation by doing the screenshots and putting your picture there and getting the other one correctly inputted from LinkedIn is something that we will be offering to all customers at Salestools very soon, okay? So you're gonna be able to do this. My name is Jasper. I'm general partner here at Software Founders. We build software that helps you scale. Connect with me on LinkedIn, join me on Twitter, and after the meeting here, the webinar, you'll find it in our in our Facebook group, facebook.com/Demand Valley. Search Demand Valley, join the group, and you'll find all the templates. There'll be a Google spreadsheet. It's waiting for you right there. Implement and do some more sales. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Take care.